Welcome back to the Crypto Simulation. I am the Gaussian Snake. We cover the crypto markets here only using technical analysis and market psychology and none of the other fluff that other people might be using. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and set notifications for this channel and join my free Telegram group at the Snake Pit and receive a free portfolio management tool to help you navigate these crypto markets. Just as a reminder, nothing in this video is intended to be financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Any price predictions or stuff like that is all considered entertainment or educational only. Please consult a professional before you make any investment decisions. So what you'll see here is Bitcoin on the monthly, and I've overlaid it with a Gaussian ribbon. And a Gaussian ribbon basically tells you what momentum is prevailing at the time. The wider the Gaussian ribbon gets, the stronger that momentum is usually. So you can see here that we had some bearish momentum that entered through as the green was sort of narrowing out. And then we entered into the red, which would reflect this data here. And then the red started to weaken. This was in 2016 cycle. And then the green started to expand and price went up. And when the Gaussian ribbon was at its maximum width, that's when price fell and we entered into a bear market in 2017. And the reason why I'm bringing that cycle up is because if you look at our cycle that we're in right now, something very similar is playing out where we, had our fattest Gaussian ribbon here in November of 2021. We sliced through it, came down. You can see that bearish momentum reflected in the red Gaussian ribbon. And then we sliced right up through it, and it looks like it is probably a month away from turning green. Now we are in a correction right now. It's really not that bad of a correction yet. My projection in my last video was we might go down to 45 to 50K. I would not consider that to be abnormal by any stretch. So I pulled up, to kind of reassure you, I pulled up the monthly RSI, and notice that we don't look anything like the way you would look at peak mania. So if you go back to the cycle that I feel is the most similar to this one, which is the 2016-2017 cycle, you can see that we actually achieved similar RSI levels in December of 2016, which was approximately a year before we topped out, and we went kind of sideways here into January of 2017. So actually we look very similar from a technical analysis standpoint, an RSI standpoint, to January of 2017. Now, there's no guarantee that that means that we're going to go all the way to December of 2024 before we have our major cycle peak. That's not guaranteed. But what it does seem to suggest is that we could at least anticipate that we might make it to August. Okay, we made it to August in 2017, and we peaked out on RSI, but we actually put in a double top and a higher high on RSI. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I could easily see a situation where we put in a top sometime in August of 2024. So for those of you who think the bull market is over, we're going into a recession, and you buy into some of the doom posting of certain people obsessed with Bitcoin dominance, I think we're gonna be fine, folks. We're gonna be fine. This is a normal correction, nothing to see here. So what if RSI comes down like this? I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. We know that it's not going to play out exactly the same way that it did in this cycle, but it should look somewhat similar, right? There are some similarities. And look at how our RSI simple moving average is only about halfway. We've achieved what I would consider to be maximum bullishness in terms of the bullish momentum that got us out of the bear market, but we still have, so we may be inflecting here, but we still have a ways to go, I believe. I would say that the earliest I could see this bull cycle ending for good in terms of Bitcoin would be August of this year in 2024. The latest I could see it going, again, based on prior history, would be December of this year. So I just want to start off with that just to give you some reassurance that I feel like everything is fine. We're having a normal correction. Yes, it's painful. Yes, altcoins are dropping. But speaking of Bitcoin dominance, I'd like to take a look at it and maybe make some observations about it. Could it go to 60%? Could it go higher than that? Let's find out. So history does not repeat, but look at what happened with Bitcoin dominance back in 2018 and 2019. We blasted through the red Gaussian ribbon, and in September of 2019, we achieved a local maximum on Bitcoin dominance before falling for a while till we hit a minimum in September of 2020. And then Bitcoin dominance got this huge resurgence all the way up to around 73.5% in January of 2021. And this was at a time when Bitcoin was going up parabolically. And then we had a major dump right into altcoin season. And Bitcoin dominance was pretty low for the rest of the bull cycle, and into the bear market we went, with the spike in dominance occurring during the first altcoin reckoning. And then we had another spike in dominance in the second altcoin reckoning in June of 2023. And then really dominance has kind of weakened. It's not going up as strongly, but it is still going up. You can almost see the inflection from concave up to concave down. The Gaussian ribbon has turned green and is fattening out. Remember that when the Gaussian ribbon turns green and gets really fat, that is generally when you're going to see a dump. So I'm kind of looking for something like this to materialize fairly soon. Soon, of course, could be 2 months from now, but what's 2 months in the crypto simulation? So notice that we did, we have had moments where we wicked above this trend line. This trend line doesn't have a whole lot of data points to it, so I don't even know how valid it actually is. I think there's a good chance we wick above it again. I don't know that we'll see monthly closes above it necessarily, but we could certainly wick pretty high on a correction. Will we get to 60%? I think there's a chance we do. I don't know if it comes with this dump. I would argue it's more likely we just get to around 55 or 56 and call it a day right there. And I would say maybe 60% is more likely on a future mania run where we could, blast through this trend line. So that's certainly possible. It's kind of hard to think that far ahead, but if you just kind of draw an imaginary bubble here, you could think that, okay, maybe, March ends up being a green month. It's red right now, but maybe it ends up being green by the end of the month, and then April could be green as well. It's possible even parts that May could be green. I don't know if we're going to have 2 months, 3 months. I don't know exactly how long this correction is going to last, or it could be over next week for all I know. But what I am anticipating is that Bitcoin dominance is going to see a dump. And if I had to just kind of guess what that dump would look like, let me pull up, let's see, under here, I'm looking for path, yeah. Maybe we get up here to like 56% or somewhere around there. And then we're going to, I think, coming down, I would say maybe into, it's really hard to exactly time this, but maybe June, July, and then we see a resurgence kind of into the end of the year. That certainly is possible. This is really hard to predict exactly how this is going to play out. Would it just surge up into an August top? I have a little bit of confirmation bias about that, or maybe a September top. Could it do something like that? Sure, it's possible. I don't know. I'm just saying in the short term, I'm expecting that the Gaussian ribbon will fatten and that we'll hit some kind of local peak here and then drop back down. And let me show you some other metrics that make me think this way about Bitcoin dominance. And by the way, just in case you didn't know, why am I talking about Bitcoin dominance? I'm talking about it because when Bitcoin dominance goes up and the dollar is up, which it is, and Bitcoin is correcting, that is generally bad news for Ethereum and altcoins. And I talked about this a little bit in my previous crypto market update video, but yeah, it's not good for Ethereum. It's not good for altcoins. And so just something to be aware of, you're probably going to notice a drop in your altcoin value, not just in USD value, but also in Bitcoin value. So I think we can all agree that Bitcoin dominance is a long-term bleeder, which is good for the space. We are kind of closing in on this triangle formation, which I haven't fully extended. I can fully extend it. Just don't really disturb the trend line, but yeah, it's fine. You can visualize it as a triangle. We don't exactly know what's going to happen, if it's going to break down or break up. My base case is it would break down, not up, because altcoins are becoming a more significant factor in the space and all others' dominance is increasing. So I do expect Bitcoin dominance to break down and maybe asymptotically trail towards 30% or something like that. Really hard to tell. Maybe this level down here might be a barrier on the downside, but I'm not really thinking about downside right now. So if you look at the log regression rainbow, which is in increments of 0.5 all the way from minus to plus 3, you can see that in the last cycle we got as high as the 1.5 log line, and we straddled the 1 log line for quite some time. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen now, but if you look at the upper boundary of the log channel, this would be the 1 channel, that's around 56%. So perfectly reasonable to think we could hit 56%. And we don't have to go all the way up to 60 at all this cycle. We could come down. Maybe a good place to come down would be the log median line, or somewhere in here, below maybe 50 or below. There's certainly a lot of touch points on the log median line. So yeah, somewhere around 48% maybe is where we might come down when dominance dumps. And maybe we crab around here for a while and get one more resurgence. And that resurgence could be a lower high. It doesn't have to be a higher high. It could be a lower high on Bitcoin dominance. So keep that in mind. We do not have to go to 60%. So yeah, we have to kind of see how this plays out, and then dominance, from that point could fall even more, and maybe it even breaks through this trend line. So that would be something we should probably watch. But to reassure you that things are not as bad as they feel, yes, dominance is most likely to go up, but I can't see it going too much higher than like 56%. Maybe 58% on a wick, okay, because wicks can be pretty strong. If we look at the weighted Bollinger Bands for dominance, you can see it's really just been nothing but a bouncer, kind of an oscillator, but mainly a bleeder. This has just been kind of bleeding, right, in this like bear flag formation, and I think this breaks to the downside. So, we've already kind of achieved our peak dominance over here in 2023 with a crescendo in June of 2023. I remember that month very well when altcoins hemorrhaged. So I think we can move higher. I don't know if we'll retest the top of the Bollinger Band. If we did, that would correspond to a level around 60%. I don't know if we'll do that, but I think we'll get somewhere in that region and then get rejected and start to head down. And where we head down, I don't know if we stop maybe here at 51 or 52%, or if we go down even lower. That's kind of unknown. But the trend right now is strong for Bitcoin dominance on the weekly, and it will probably remain strong at least for the next 6 to 8 weeks. That's kind of been my estimate. That's what my gut tells me. I could be wrong though. It could be over soon. By the way, this is monthly, not weekly. I'm trying to look on like higher time frames. But yeah, I mean, the trend is turned up right now. So, and Bitcoin is dumping, which is going to just completely ruin altcoins. We can see here the 10 and 40 month SMAs, and we have Bitcoin dominance stacked above both of them. So it's strong, right? It's a strong trend. But you do see that the 10 month is starting to roll over, right? It's starting to go from concave up, maximum strength reverse, and now we have concave down. The 40 month has just been in a flat out downtrend. We are above it, but that could be another place we fall to, right? So maybe that's like the 48% region I keep talking about, 46, 48%. That could be our stopping point, which would leave a lot of room for alts to run on the trip down. See, alts are going to run once this peaks, and then, so whenever this peak is and then it rolls over, during that rollover process, that's when altcoins are going to start eating up market share, and you're going to see more moves out of them on the way down. So bearish Bitcoin dominance is good for altcoins. Bullish Bitcoin dominance can be good for altcoins. If Bitcoin's going up, it drags the altcoins up with it. But when Bitcoin's going down and dominance is going up, that is generally not good for altcoins. So what we want to see is Bitcoin dominance going down and Bitcoin's price going up or going sideways with a bullish bias. That's kind of what we want for altcoins, and it's happened in the last cycle. It happened in the one before that, so we would anticipate we'd see something like that with the rotation of capital happening again. Here's something I think you'll find reassuring. Bitcoin dominance bull bear power trend reached maximum bullishness, where the bulls were firmly in control, in October of 2023, and then it had a pretty precipitous drop, and I think you felt that, right, with a huge surge in altcoins. We came up briefly in December and then fell straight into January and came up again in February. If I want, I can maybe move this out this way. And it looks like we're curling back up again. So, if this were to meet the trend line, and form a lower high, then we're looking at well, let's see, it's the 19th, a week from now, we could hit this trend line. I don't know. It could be a little stronger than that. Maybe we go above it. We don't have to respect this trend line. There's only 2 data points. So maybe we go up here into April. I don't think that this correction has to last that long by Bitcoin. I don't think it has to drag out for 6 to 8 weeks. That's just kind of my estimation, which I could be completely wrong about. And frankly, I hope I am wrong. Why don't we take a look back in history and see what happened during similar moves in 2016 and 2017? So it's hard to find an analogy on the bull bear power trend. You actually have to go back to 2015 to find that. So, and in early 2016. So you can see that we had times where the bulls were in control, but then it kind of fell off a cliff, right? And in 2016, all the way till about October, Bitcoin dominance was kind of not so strong, right? And then we saw it kind of pick up some strength going into November and December of 2016, and before it rolled over again. So you get these you get these periods along the way where you would have dominance retrace, right? It would go up, like October to December, dominance started going up, but Bitcoin's price was going up along with it, so that was good, right? Then you have dominance going down. Okay, so during these periods, dominance was going down, but Bitcoin's price was going, in some of these instances, going up. So what I'm basically saying is that just because dominance has been building, and you can see here's a better example. In 2019, you had the bull bear power trend peaked in December of 2019 and started to fall off, but we had moments where we bounced, right? Like here's May of 2020, bounced again in November of 2020, bounced again in December. So you can get these bounces. I'm pretty convinced that the peak bull bear power trend strength is in for Bitcoin dominance as of October of 2023. But again, that doesn't mean we can't see bounces along the way, and these bounces could be very short-lived, or they could drag out for a month or two. Hey, looking on the monthly ADX and DI, you can see that the trend strength starting in May of 2023 has picked up steam, and we're at about a trend strength of about 28 on the monthly, which is a strong trend. You can see that the green DI is actually in bearish convergence. That is, an interesting thing. So is this going to see a little spike up here in the coming month? It could, but I think the highs on the ADX, on the green directional index, I think they're in. I think the highs are in. Like if you look at the period from September to October, that was a period where the green directional index for dominance was going up, and I remember during that time, Bitcoin's price was going down, right? So, but then afterwards, look what happened. We just went straight into altcoin season, and now you have the green directional index intersecting with the DI. The green DI intersecting with the directional index, which gives you a trend strength. That's what the white line's for. So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen from here, but this is a pretty strong bearish divergence. It looks like a top to me. So it's possible we bounce up a little bit, but then come down. That's my expectation. That's what we're going to do. And then maybe the next bounce we get will be Bitcoin mania season, when Bitcoin puts in a major cycle top or something like that before it rolls back over again into altcoin season once again. If we pull up some fibs on the monthly Bitcoin dominance, we can see that we are pretty much right at the 0.5 fib. We have a ton of touch points there. This is, of course, from swing high to swing low, and which I think is a pretty reliable measure of dominance. So I don't really see us getting too high. I mean, the 618 sits at 58%, so it's kind of hard to imagine us getting much higher than that, and even that's a bit of a stretch in my opinion, especially if this trend line has any merit to it. And of course, we can't possibly know that. I mean, we could make the trend line look like that, and then suddenly 58.29% seems a lot more attainable. So yeah, like I said, I could see Bitcoin dominance going to 56% and maybe as high as 58 or so. And if it wicks up, it could even hit 60. But, with the trend concave down, it's really hard to imagine, that we get any really strong candles out of this. When you're concave down like this, that tends to not happen. So I would place the odds more on, getting near this lower trend line, or near the upper trend line, but not like doing some crazy move. Of course, there, nobody's nobody's saying we have to stay in this like concave down pattern. We could certainly go right back to concave up again. Okay, so that's something to consider. We could inflect back upwards. So predicting these things is next to impossible. But looking at these fib levels, it seems like somewhere, let's just say somewhere between like where we're at now and at the most 60%. Looking at the MACD, it does look like dominance is going to top out fairly soon. It looks similar to late 2020, kind of heading into a time when altcoins did very, very well. Now, you can't just look at this and tell what's going on with, like, is price going up, going down, or any of that, right? But what we can say is that the overall strength from dominance definitely is going away. Okay, so the MACD is looking a bit more and more bearish by the month. The Trix bubble looks bearish too on dominance. It does. This is your 5-month SMA, 7-month, 9-month. I think your 11-month and your 14-month, if I'm remembering correctly. So it looks like dominance has kind of just been heading down, and maybe it just gets a little spike up and then comes down again. That's my base case, and then maybe does something like that later during mania, extreme mania season for Bitcoin. It's funny, I think we've already been through extreme mania season in terms of ROI from cycle bottom, but extreme mania in the sense where we're heading up instead of down, right? And putting in like maybe a higher high. Thank you for joining me in the crypto simulation. Once again, I'm the Gaussian Snake. You can find me on Telegram at the Snake Pit. That Telegram group is free. And all of the month of March, I'll be giving away a free portfolio risk management tool when you join. So I'll be dropping that in the alerts channel periodically for my new members. We have 166 members at the time of this video. So we've got, I'm in there every day providing alerts and stuff. And if you want to get the latest alpha market updates, join me. Once again, nothing I said in this video is intended to be financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. Remember to like, comment, definitely subscribe to my channel. Give it a thumbs up if you like the content. Give me some feedback, and hit that notification bell to be notified of future videos. So just the final thing I'll say is, yes, prices are falling. Bitcoin's going down. Ethereum's going down more. Altcoins are going down even more. But in my estimation, this is temporary, and this will pass. We always get corrections in bull markets, especially after maximum bullish momentum has been achieved. That's usually where the first cracks start showing in our bullishness, and we start to make the very slow and gradual transition from bull market to bear market. But that can take anywhere from 6 months to even a year to really play out. We can see higher prices appear during that time. So in my mind, we are still fairly early in the bull market. We still have at least another, if I had to estimate, at least another, what is it now? It's March, April, May, June, July, August. So at least another 6 or 7 months to go, possibly all the way to December. I can't really see us going too much further than that with Bitcoin. So, all right, folks, have a good evening or day or morning, wherever you are in the crypto simulation. Be safe.